They do not understand because the Democratic Party does not communicate it. Another House Dem aide gets in touch. Our party must learn that outside of our tiny insular bubble, AOC's toxic Democratic brand with swing voters, her primetime DNC speaking slot played directly into the narratives that lost us this election. Yeah, I don't think these guys are going to learn. Bernie is so like he wants, he's not pandering in a stupid ass way to each individual marginalized group. He wants like everyone to do well, and he's communicating a broader, more universal message. And then people are shocked like why that message works. People are shocked why the Democratic Party's message, on the other hand, that is like hyper specific, hyper targeted, is just not good, especially because they also come across very disingenuous, right? Liberals make the mistake thinking you need, for example, a pro-trans person that won't shut up about trans rights. But what you really need is a pro-trans person who won't stop talking about working class issues. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, trans people are working class. Like, they're not magic. You know what I mean? They're not like magically above the same material fucking harms that a white dude who's in the same age group is experiencing, right? Like, it's always so stupid when people just like hyper focus on marginalized identities in a way that like kind of doesn't make sense. And they do it for like aesthetic reasons, and then they drop it all the time. There has never been a moment in my career, okay? There's never been a moment in my career where I've been like, yeah, we got to drop this trans stuff, guys. Like, that's insane. If I were to do that, okay, you would be completely correct in shitting on me. You know what I mean? And it's not just trans people. People go, oh, why are you talking about trans people? It's like, it's just one aspect of it, right? It's one aspect of the conversation. It's not just trans people. It's the same principle for undocumented immigrants, right? Like, I'm not dropping that shit. I care about those people. I don't want them to get mass deported. They've done nothing wrong, right? So people don't understand that like there is a way to communicate a progressive message without like coming across as a cynical panderer who at any moment could just drop that conditional allyship that they've represented. And the Democrats are fake. They're phony. They are always only aesthetically tokenizing certain marginalized identities, and then are constantly just going, which group should we shit on today? Which group could we drop today? And then they refuse to learn their lessons. They refuse to learn from these lessons. You know what I mean? Jamie Harrison right here. This is straight up bullshit. Biden was the most pro-worker president of my life. Saved union pensions, created millions of good paying jobs, and even marched a picket line. And some MVP's plans would have fundamentally transformed the quality of life and closed the racial wealth gap for working people across the country. From child tax credit to $25K for a down payment for a house to Medicare covering the cost of senior health care in their homes. There are a lot of post-election takes, and this one ain't a good one. First of all, hey, Jamie Harrison, you're gone. So why the fuck are you still chirping, okay? No longer the chair of Democrats, okay? Why are you still chirping, Jamie? Bye-bye, Jamie. Loser. Okay, that's number one. Jamie Harrison, perpetual loser. Why the fuck did they elevate him? Who knows? Number two, while there is truth to some of the things that he's saying in terms of Biden's agenda, you didn't communicate it. And also, these things are like, they are not immediate, right? There is no like immediate impact. There is no immediate impact in people's lives. Like, they can't comprehend it, right? It's kind of like saying, well, the economy is rebounding. It's like, it doesn't matter, dude. What the f do you mean? Oh, unemployment is low. It's like, okay, well, guess what, dude? Unemployment is low sounds great. But the problem is, if people are still struggling and you're not addressing that, then they don't give a f about unemployment. This is not a culture war that you can just win by doing podcasts. Meatloaf's Wikipedia drama, eating disorder, Twitter turns on Trump, DDG on Kai Cenat. Yeah. I just don't think people understand. Yale-educated former lobbyist for Bank of America, Lockheed Martin, Wells Fargo, Boeing, BP, etc. thinks concerns about the Democratic Party abandoning the working class is straight up bullshit. Yeah, I wonder why. Now, the thing is, the right also has their own Jamie Harrisons. The problem is they just message better. Okay? Celinda Lake, a Democratic pollster on talking to voter focus groups. Everybody knows what Trump economics is: China tariffs, tax cuts. Then you go to ask them, what are the Democratic economics? And someone will make a joke about welfare, and then half the people can't name anything. It's nothing like the Republican brand. Like, the Democrats do not campaign outside of every 4 years. The Republicans campaign every fucking day. That's the problem, okay? It's so out of touch. Yeah. That's it. There ain't never a moment where a Republican won't fucking tell you about how the border crisis is happening, you know? Every single damn day they're doing rapes. They're doing mass rapes, everybody. They're lying too. It's not like it's true, but it doesn't matter. They say it every fucking day until it becomes reality. Democrats, on the other hand, shut the fuck up and wait for the Republicans to run the table and then respond. They always find themselves on the back foot for no reason. Yeah. They do not understand because the Democratic Party does not communicate it. Another House Dem aide gets in touch. Our party must learn that outside of our tiny insular bubble, AOC's toxic Democratic brand with swing voters, her primetime DNC speaking slot played directly into the narratives that lost us this election. Yeah, I don't think these guys are going to learn. I don't think they're going to learn. I think they're going to wait and allow the Trump Republican Party to just like destroy the country so that the unpopularity of the Trump Republican Party will then let them put forward another very crowded field, okay, of Democratic primaries where they'll inevitably elevate one of the worst dumbasses. Like, it's going to be Pete Buttigieg, dude. It's going to be like a Pete Buttigieg, Josh Shapiro, Gavin Newsom ticket. Like, it's going to be one of those guys, and I'm going to die. I'm just going to light on fire, okay? I'm just going to... Imagining that in and of itself is just... Anti-intellectualism is so bad.
I think my real big prediction for the next 4 years is that anti-intellectualism is in. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of niggas is gonna think that they are being counterculture and think they are being punk rock. I mean, I guess that's not gonna be in. That's already kind of in right now. I'm pretty like come to terms with the fact that we might be entering the new dark ages as far as just like art quality goes and intellectualism goes and just like progressive thought as a whole. But right. That's only if we let it be. I'm seeing so many cowardly ass niggas. It's over. They win. Get your bitch ass off the floor, nigga. Ain't nothing over until the fucking cows come home. This shit ain't over until Allah rings the fucking bell. And I ain't heard the bell yet. And just to see so many people like,
he's right.
Oh, it's over. Nah, shit finna get dark. But that's why we gonna be needing more niggas to light the way. Like, I don't know. I see too many niggas giving up. I guess it's my main thing.
He's right. He's absolutely right. It's a great take. The NC doesn't realize how you need simple communications plans. There's reporting a lot of people didn't realize Biden wasn't on the ballot. AOC and other progressives have clear messages. Kamala pushed Trump agenda and didn't know why people didn't show up for them. Yeah, there are so many fucking issues with the Democratic Party, man. So many goddamn issues, but like it comes from this, okay? It is their fucking inability. It is their inability, or rather their ideological goals that stop them from recognizing their fucking errors. They just don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. I'm seeing it over and over again. This is why I said to Michael from Pennsylvania before the election when he was like, it's better when the Democrats lose because then there's an opportunity to organize. I agree with him that there is an opportunity to organize, but I just don't think the Democratic Party is going to fucking turn around and like allow there to be any organizing, right? We shall see. But, you know, it's just, they're so fucking annoying, man. They are literally flooding mainstream media with this narrative right now. They're literally, at this very moment, you go on any of the major news networks, right now, you are going to hear the most insane shit from people like Cuck Todd, okay? And they're blue pilling your grandmothers and your mom and your dad by telling them this insane narrative that like Kamala Harris actually lost because she was so pro-trans. Like, when the was she pro-trans, dude? She never said no damn thing about trans people. Not once. The f are you talking about? Kamala Harris lost because she wasn't sufficiently pro-Israel. That's a take I heard. To me, that take is QAnon, okay? There is no difference in the lack of mental fortitude, the utter insanity, than just being a straight up QAnon supporter who's like, Donald Trump is fighting the deep state pedophiles, brother. Let me tell you, that's why I voted for him. It is that same level of delulu. You are the most delusional person on the planet. I saw another take. Okay, I'm going to run this back. I need you to hear how insane this is.
And I think there was this very powerful ad, the Republican Jewish Coalition, that was all over the airwaves. Yeah. A bunch of women sitting around, Jewish women, just saying, I can't stand him, but I felt like we were supporting Israel and we were stronger and we were tougher. And I think that resonates with me.
The ad that came out that was beating Kamala up around fear about Israel not being protected. There was never a response from the campaign on that, which I thought was a big mistake. Amanda Berman from Zioness had to raise money running her own ad.
Yeah, dude, shut the fuck up. You're such a bought and sold charlatan, Van Jones. Suck my fucking dick. Whatever her name is from Zioness. You went to that special interest group's fucking party because you want to do this. This is why he's doing this, okay? His entire fucking goal on this panel is to just like try and spear dick this obviously fucking completely ridiculous narrative to be like, actually, Kamala Harris wasn't sufficiently pro-Israel. It's so really damaging for the campaign. And then the absolute fucking idiots that watch this shit, that work at the top of the Democratic Party, are like, I guess that's true. Like, who are you fooling, dude? What are you doing? This is, for the record, part of the reason why people don't want to watch the news anymore. They don't want to watch your shit, because when you are sitting and watching a CNN panel, and I love CNN. I watch CNN all the goddamn time. Okay, you know this. I have friends that work at CNN. I think CNN is fine overall. But like when I hear this shit, I'm like, come on. Who is this for, brother? What are you saying? Kamala Harris wasn't sufficiently pro-Israel? What the fuck? What are you saying? Oh, I'm sorry. She didn't say "Am Israel High" on fucking at the DNC platform. I guess that's why she wasn't sufficiently pro-Israel. Like who? Who is this for, brother? Who is this for? I know who is for. I know what you're doing. Let me tell you who this is not for. American Jews who voted overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party. 80%. Overwhelmingly. Okay? Because guess what? Turns out the Haaretz poll, or I think it was the Times of Israel poll that came out a couple months prior, was correct. Israel is not their top priority, okay? You know why? Because they're American Jews, okay? They're not Jews in Israel. They are Jews in America. They're American citizens. I hate this fucking woke dual loyalty narrative coming from these fucking dumb fucks. They don't live there. If they cared about Israel that much, they'd be living in fucking Israel, okay? What the fuck? Every single fucking poll kept saying, hey, if you tackle this Israel shit, you are going to get rewarded. Okay. 200,000 Muslims, Arabs in Dearborn in Michigan, largest representation. What happened? What happened in Michigan? I thought you were going to win Michigan with the suburbs. What the fuck happened? You lost Michigan because you lost the fucking Arab and Muslim vote, but it's not just the Arabs and the Muslims. You lost a shit ton of people who cared about this, who just didn't go out and vote. Okay? They just didn't vote because they were like, why the fuck would I do this? They're not responsive to anything. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that they were just like, they let Trump claim that he was anti-war. Like I cannot begin to tell you how psychotic that is. One day, Democrats will understand, hopefully, that lesser evil voting and harm reduction narratives do not get asses off seats. Okay? And if they don't learn this, they're going to constantly have a lighter version of they're going to just do fascism light. It's going to be a Republican primary all day, every day. Yeah, he's talking about Zionist. I went to a launch party as Zionist, a new Dem-targeted pro-Israel political fund, which promised to be raucous and overflowing with a star-studded congressional cast. What I found was a very unhappy Mondaire Jones, a few people in anxiety about Kamala. But hey, this is how special interest works, okay? You got a lot of fucking money. So what do? You set up a party at the DNC, and then you get Van Jones at the party. You grease him up, get him a couple cocktails, talk to him, talk about how wonderful you are. Now Van Jones is open-minded to your fucking perspective. Now, a couple months later, boom, there you go. Dropping Zionist as a special interest group on election night coverage of CNN. That's how this shit works. It's not even like nefarious or secret. It's very above board. It is happening every single fucking day directly in front of our eyes. These guys are so used to being farmed like this that they don't even see a world outside of it. Like they do not, I can't think of a single damn conclusion that a lot of these dudes arrive at on their own, that a lobbyist hasn't just communicated to them, okay? What a psychotic take that is so immediately at odds with the reality and purposely works to try and actively lie to the audience that's watching. Okay? That's it. That's fucked up. That, to me, is QAnon shit. No different than QAnon shit.
Had trying to fight back alone, that didn't work. So, but listen, you tied her to the economy, you tied her to Biden, you tied her to weird, and it was not a good
I agree with everything you're saying. I just didn't want to engage in the autopsy before before we've called the race and before she dropped out. But, you know, one thing on that, the answer on I can't think of anything offhand about where she would differ with Biden was disastrous, and there's no doubt about it. The question is what motivated it and whether she just felt she did not want to.
Loyalty.
Yes, loyalty. And so she should have just said, look, I'm grateful to him. I'm proud of many of the things we did together, and I'm not going to critique him. I'm talking about the future. Would have been.
Dude, what are you saying, man? Oh my God, the fucking autopsy, dude. It is so unimaginably wrong. It is so unimaginably wrong. It's so bad. These guys literally are actively pushing the wrong thing. And they're priming the base. They're tuning the base that watches these television networks into believing a false reality, okay? It's very frustrating to see this. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, they're so in a bubble. Like, it's so crazy. And I say this as a guy who spends 10 hours a day online. Like, I spend 10 hours a day online. I'm live all the goddamn time. How the fuck do I have a better understanding of what the hell's going on than these guys do? They're so locked in on the DC bubble. Talk to a person who's not a fucking lobbyist, please, for once in your fucking lives, dude. They all go to the same parties. They all talk to the same fucking people. There's just nothing. There's nothing that like talk to some Trump supporters. And I don't mean like fucking dipshit billionaires, okay? Talk to some Trump supporters. Talk to some disenfranchised voters who feel like they're not going to vote because they just don't have, the party doesn't have their best interest in mind. Like, please interact with normal people. Okay? Go to a goddamn public park, please. Talk to a crazy person. I do it all the time at the public parks I go to. It's not great. It's not always the best, experience, but do it. Just fucking do it. But yeah, that's how it works. I'm glad that he brought up Zionist specifically because it's like a failed interest group that was trying to reinstill, a commitment, an extra commitment to Israel from the Democratic Party from a progressive side. It's like the progressive anti-abortion interest group, right? Like, they exist. These things exist. They don't got no motion, right? But they did it. They won. Like, that's a massive way to get a call out like this, you know? You bring Van Jones to your party. He sucks down a couple cocktails, and then he fucking says, like, oh, yeah, Zionist was doing a great job, actually, trying to assure people that, like, Kamala Harris was pro-Israel, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. It's like, dude, you are out of your fucking mind. Like, what are you talking about? Pro-Israel? Motherfucker. What do you mean pro-Israel? Kamala Harris was already super pro-Israel. And not only that, but she also was anti-Palestinian. So much so that she fucking lost Michigan and possibly other places as well. Like this probably played a role in Pennsylvania as well, in Georgia as well. There were plenty of fucking young voters who cared about this shit. And Kamala Harris was like, this is what you get. We cannot let these fucking clowns run the clown show in this way. I'm losing my damn mind, dude. I'm losing it. Another House Dem. Our party must learn from our tiny insular bubble. AOC's toxic Democratic brand and swing voters. Her primetime DNC speaking slot played directly into the narratives that lost this election. Like, what are you saying? What did the Democrats do that was like even remotely pro AOC? If anything, they're constantly fucking using AOC to try to whip up the progressive base of support, okay? Which she does to much success, really, which then pisses off the leftists because they're like, why are you fucking riding so hard with this like bloodthirsty administration? Okay? They just use her. They just use her like a rag. Like they literally will like roll her out every now and then to be like, come on, get some fucking progressive voters in. Come on. Go ahead. Lie to them. Tell them that we're working tirelessly around the clock to fucking do a ceasefire. They don't even use her. They think that she is toxic. This is real, by the way. This sentiment from this aide, this House aide, is not a joke. Okay? It's not. It's real. They genuinely are so fucking stupid that they think she is toxic. If the Dems learn the right lessons, does Waltz run in 2028? What's insane was the base was on their knees begging for Kamala to acknowledge their concerns regarding Palestine, so much that they'd accept the 3-minute speech of the DNC that ultimately endorsed her, and she wouldn't do it, then topping it off by telling you to pack up your shit and bounce. Yeah. Also, raw votes in New York 14, AOC 123,239, Kamala 122,455, raw votes in New York 15, Richie Torres 121,318. Kamala 127,000. So Richie Torres underperformed Kamala Harris. AOC overperformed Kamala Harris in their districts. Maybe Richie Torres should have been, working, I guess, a little bit harder on his own fucking race in the poorest congressional district in the goddamn country, instead of trying to ban the only fucking progressive voice that is able to penetrate any of these goddamn right-wing spaces, because I've been too much of a meanie bobini to Israel. What a fucking freak he is, dude. Remember that? 5 days before the election, this dumb fuck is running around being like, what Twitch must do is ban this guy. Yeah, you want only Asmongold should be able to talk about politics. Like, what the fuck? That's so insane, dude. That's so fucking insane. Like, You saw the numbers. You saw the numbers. Richie Torres, 5 days out from an election, alongside Ethan Klein and Destiny, these guys who are like supposedly progressive, supposedly, pro-Democratic Party, they were so invested in making sure that this list did not have one single progressive person on it. Talk to me about your fucking priorities, please. Talk to me about your fucking priorities. 5 days out from a fucking election. You think it would have been more successful if Twitch banned me? You think it would have been better overall? That's crazy to me. Like, that's actually crazy. I could not believe it. I didn't want to talk about it too much because, like, there was a lot of like obvious insanity happening behind the scenes, but I was trying to be as laser focused on the upcoming election as possible. But it blew my mind. It blew my fucking mind that it was so stupid that he like aligned with a dude who personally has propped up Nicolas fucking Fuentes, like deliberately revitalized Nicolas Fuentes' dead career. Can you imagine? Who the fuck's on Rumble? Yeah, I mean, this is botted into oblivion. Can you explain the Dems try to ban you? Yes. Destiny's community actively fucking went to every advertiser and tried to get me, try to apply pressure. It didn't work, but they tried to apply pressure to Twitch. They went to the ADL with the express purpose of trying to get me banned before the election, okay? They did a mass brigading campaign, and very openly so, they did it. very openly. And they knew that I don't have any advertisers, so they can't fucking get me, right? Personally, they can't go to my advertisers. Apparently they went to the Majority Report advertisers and got their advertisers to pull out right before the election, okay? They openly said, we are going to start a active brigading campaign, Gamergate style, and try to get Hasan banned from Twitch before the election. And they also very openly said that they were doing it as a troll. Like, they thought it would be very funny if they were able to do this. And it got so fucking insane because they went to every news outlet and tried to shop this story. And of course, journalists were like, the fuck? What are you talking about? There's an election in 5 days. Shut the fuck up. So they got nothing from those news outlets. And the only one dumb enough to bite it was literally Richie Torres, who is supposed to be a somewhat progressive member of the Democratic Party. What is this? Here's a clip of D's right-hand man saying,
yes. You would bend the knee?
Yes. Instead of dying? Yes.
Never bend the knee.
Oh, I will bend the knee. I have no fucking... I'll do anything, whatever it takes.
Okay, the things that Trump has said...
I will never give up until Dan Clancy is dead. I will bend whatever...
Like, they actively targeted Dan Clancy directly. They actively targeted people who are in the trust and safety team on Twitch directly. Okay. One of those morons said they would go after everyone who appears on your show, fucking loser behavior. Yeah. They spam emailed everyone. They spam emailed advertisers being like, look at these out of context clips. This person is promoting anti-Semitism. Right? Democrats need someone who can speak to the youth, someone with consistently progressive politics, someone who knows how to debate, someone who will, as a white guy, defend saying the N-word, someone who will almost always victim blame in instances of a woman being sexually assaulted. That's the kind of guy, someone who has advocated for white supremacists to kill Black Lives Matter protesters because he thought that it would be hurting Biden's chances of re-election or hurting Biden's chances in the 2020 election. That's the kind of guy. Someone who's called trans people mentally ill, someone who platforms Nazis. Like, these people are so fucking delusional. They don't understand. They just like live in this like warped reality. Okay. They live in this fucking warped ass reality. They see a couple, like a lot of people probably see a couple clips on TikTok here and there of him like owning a dumbass right winger and go, this guy seems good. And then they personally understand exactly what the fuck this dude is about. And they go, never mind. I've never had a more viscerally unpleasant reaction to meeting someone than I did with this man. The level of aggressive arrogance and incuriosity about other perspectives is off the charts. Can't imagine how anyone would want to spend time with him unless it was their job. There was so little warmth or empathy in him. I found it quite disturbing. I do some debate myself, and I understand why people get satisfaction from crushing and destroying others in argument. But I found his personality more off-putting even than Trump or Vance. I once met a hairless cat that did nothing but attack you. You'd walk into a room. The cat would just run at you and start biting you for pleasure. It was horrible. Like, why is this thing alive? Why would anyone want it around? Among humans, Destiny is the closest I've met to that cat. A toxic individual with a genuinely toxic community who does the exact same shit that they used to do back in the day on 4chan Poll, on Kiwi Farms, on anonymous forums where they just like actively target, create entire files of like propaganda of clips out of context, and they go after every single person with such viciousness until they can successfully turn them into what they consider a lol cow. And it's insane. It's like it's just mentally unhinged behavior. Okay. Yeah. I mean, fist bumping Nazis. I don't even know if that photo is real, but I know that he did go and eat chicken and waffles with him. And worse than that, he fucking openly admitted to revitalizing his career, like time and time again. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. There's just like, please mention the reason why E has a new enemy every day is because D people stalk everyone you've ever talked positively about. I know. I've seen so many libs calling D the only liberal podcaster on our side. Yeah. And here's the thing, okay? Here's the issue. Here's the issue. If you're if your entire politics revolves around spite, okay? If your entire politics is just like pure spite, pure vitriol, pure animus, and no like, it has no basis in like empathy, and you just kind of, I guess, use the Democratic Party or liberalism as like your what is this? I mean, yeah, it's gross. It makes gross fucking jokes like that all the time. Whatever. The point is, and we're gonna get back to like obviously the Trump stuff in a second, but now that the election is done, I did briefly want to talk about this because it was so insane. It was so incredibly insane that, like, again, look at that list. Every single person on the list is either center right or far right. Most of them are far right. Okay? And these guys were so invested in just like having this spite-driven campaign to deplatform one of the largest fucking voices of progressive politics online 5 days out from a fucking election. That's crazy. Like, if you hyper focused on the larger problems, I wouldn't even bring this person up. You know what I mean? If he just like only cared about like taking out Ben Shapiro or right wingers instead of spending his community's time actively and deliberately trying to come after me with false smears and attacking even like reporters who write about me, attacking my moderation team, attacking people who used to be on my mod team who are content creators themselves, people who I react to, people who I see in the real world. If they weren't so fucking busy doing all this shit, I wouldn't care. You know what I mean? It's just so psychotic. And there's no legislation surrounding like cyber stalking and doing these like cyber harassment campaigns. There's just nothing. You just have to rely on people knowing what like Gamergate style cyber harassment campaigns look like. And many people do. So they know exactly what it looks like and they kind of understand it. There are certain people who don't. You know, executives get like fearful when they see any kind of motion in any direction. But overall, there is no power. Like, you can brigade Reddit, but it's not penetrating the real world. No, defamation doesn't work that way. So it's just like a sad state of affairs. Ethan was telling your audience, you told your audience not to vote. Yeah, dude, sure. I think this is here.
And Fuentes' treatment of me is so bad. I don't understand. That's something he'll have to learn and grow. Not to sound like not to be too self-aggrandizing, but like Fuentes should be worshiping me because I was the only lifeline that he had to like being able to breach like mainstream political conversations. Like I represent.
He's talking about neo-Nazi Nicholas Fuentes here and how he revitalized his career. That is the person that Democratic Party's very own Congressperson Richie Torres was aligned with to try and fucking take the only large progressive voice out from the equation, to cancel and try to get to ban the only large left-wing progressive content creator. That's who Richie Torres was aligned with, using clips from his fucking subreddit, like 17-second clips. Think about how insane that is for a second, please. And then we turn around and we talk about like how crazy it is that there are no left-wing voices out there. Wow, the entire space is dominated by right-wing militants.
Presented a huge potential opportunity to him, and he just was so bad faith in the way that he treats me. It's unbelievable. I don't know why the fuck you would do that. Like, he should have been so conciliatory towards me. And I'm not looking for that. I'm not asking him to be my bitch or anything. But for him to be like relentlessly bad faith against me all the time, like, bro, who the fuck are you? Like, I can put you on a stream in front of 14,000 people. Like, I'm giving you your phone number to like Adam22 so you can go to a show. Why the fuck would you like burn my shit so hard? Like, you're so stupid.
Why isn't the neo-Nazi that I am prominently fucking propping up, openly admitting that I'm propping up, being nicer to me? That is the person that Richie Torres was working with alongside the ADL, okay? 5 days out from a goddamn election. He also banned people from his community for calling Nick Fuentes a Nazi and said he's not a Nazi, he's just a Christian nationalist. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Also, the masks are fully off now is so funny to say about Nicholas Fuentes. He's always been this booger-eating Nazi. This is normal. This is normal for him. He's never had the mask on. Anyway, it's crazy. I just hate how Ethan is brigading smaller content creators like the Deep program because he couldn't get to you. It's fucking gross how he keeps picking smaller content creators that are just getting by, and he is sitting on his golden throne. Is just straight up harassment. I know. He's just, I'm sure he'll eventually stop when he realizes that like there's nothing to farm there, or until he successfully changes his entire fucking community into one that is just as toxic as like Divorcelli's community is, like aligning with all these fucking drama peddlers like Keemstar and shit in an effort to try and get me fucking banned is psychotic to me, you know? I just don't get it. I don't understand it. It's so insane. I didn't talk about it, like I said, all that much because like I had, you know, more important things to worry about. But yeah, I saw this as well. This is from the Don't Worry Pod, the guys in Lebanon that I platformed before.
Talk a lot, and Bibi's become a lot like Trump.
Yeah, Bibi's his guy. They're like homies. Bibi's celebrating last night.
Just the other day, Bibi fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about, and he fired him because they had a disagreement, and that's like so Trump coded.
Well, he was like a moderating voice in the war room.
Yeah.
The person that they're talking about is Yoav Gallant. Yoav Gallant, alongside Benjamin Netanyahu, has an active petition for his arrest by the ICC. Now, of course, the Israeli government and the American government have been able to actively suppress this investigation from the ICC, the International Criminal Court. ICJ is prosecuting Israel. ICC prosecutes people for war crimes. Prosecutor Karim Khan has launched an investigation into both Yoav Gallant, the defense minister that they're talking about right now, that Benjamin Netanyahu just fired, and Benjamin Netanyahu for war crimes. Okay? The person that they are talking about here, before getting fired by Benjamin Netanyahu, the person that they're calling a moderating voice, said this, which is the reason why there is an active petition, an active application for a warrant for his arrest by the ICC. I have ordered a complete siege on Gaza. No electricity, no food, no water. Everything is closed. We are fighting human animals, and we act accordingly. That is not a good guy. I'm sorry. It's not. And it's like shocking to see Ethan say this stuff.
Yeah.
And he got rid of him, or at least a more moderate voice. I don't know anything about the guy. Just recognize his picture. He looked mean.
I don't know how you don't know anything about Yoav Gallant, brother. This has been 12 months. 12 months. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, who has once again an active court case against him for war crimes by the ICC. He is mentioned by name.
Mean. I thought he was mean just because he looked mean.
No, it's not.
But I'm the radical extremist. I liked Ethan because he would go after the evil people no one would touch, but he keeps going after genuinely kind-hearted good people. So icky. He's been so used to being on the right side of things that are so easy to be on the right side about anti-trans incels, etc., that he can't fathom. Maybe he's championing the wrong side. I don't know. I don't know. I'm legitimately shocked. Bro hasn't said anything in a year about this until now, and whenever he speaks about it, it's to out himself as either apologetic or completely ignorant towards anything going on in Palestine. It's disappointing. That's all I can say. Very disappointing. Anyway, like I said, it is shocking that so many people got like looped into this fucking hate campaign that has just been ongoing for an entire month at this point, and it went nowhere. And it was, in some ways it was hurtful. In other ways it was expected, but I still couldn't believe it. Like, I couldn't believe that there were people out there who are so stupid, like Richie Torres, that would just like get in line for this because they're so viciously pro-Israel. Like they are so openly not cognizant of anything else that like anger and that resentment and that interest outweighed like his own personal fucking election that was coming up. Like there is a fucking general election happening in 5 days, and this motherfucker was like using the congressional header with clips that he got from Destiny's community out of context to be like, this guy is the arch terrorist. He must be banned immediately. It was so insane. You have no idea how many posts like this I've seen. It's so sad to see. Decided checking on how liberals are handling the loss and immediately regretted that decision. For the next 4 years, I'm drinking all the Starbucks. I want to spite you all. Two can play that game. I just don't like a lot of this stuff is unnecessarily divisive. Okay. And I think people will get whipped into shape eventually, because there is a far greater threat to the entire world and every American with the upcoming Trump administration once this lame duck session is over. And right now, everyone is hurting. Right now, people are trying to pick up the pieces and try to understand like how we got here. What happened? How could this have happened? How could Donald Trump have won again? And I think there is a deep inability within the top of the Democratic Party. Like they do not want to address the root causes at all. Did Ethan write the letter to Congress trying to ban you? No, Richie Torres did. He just supported Richie Torres, which was insane. My out of the loop lib friend casually asked me if I'd heard the Hasan Piker controversy this past week, citing the front pages of Reddit as a source. Exactly. And with how easily brigaded Reddit can be, but also beyond that, how echo chambered everyone is at this point online. You can have people who are just like totally oblivious. Most people are totally oblivious to this reality, but it's just, I don't know. Like we gotta become reasonable again. It's really fucked up. Will they? Aren't you tired of false predictions? Liberals are fascist best friends. All that is left is the left, and the left has no institutional power at all. Yeah, my goal is to try and change that as best as I can. They admitted they don't give a fuck about anti-Semitism and are just doing, oh yeah, this is the last thing I wanted to show you. Twitch's terms of service already protects against hate speech. It's actually a good document that is applied well. None of these people attacking Twitch even cared about hate speech or anti-Semitism. If they did, they'd be going after Kick or X, not anti-Zionist creators on Twitch.
You know, it's sad because I've dedicated the last 2 weeks of my life basically to Steve's cause.
This, by the way, it was happening, again, 5, 4, 2, 3 days out from the election with the sole purpose of oh, he's going to get a lot of views on election day. We got to get him banned before that happens.
What? Which one? You're talking about the Twitch thing?
Yeah, destroying Twitch.
I thought that was more your thing than...
Why the fuck do I care about Twitch? I'm not banned there.
I thought you cared because they were anti-Semitic and being weird.
Nah, it's just fun.
Oh, okay. I care. I thought you cared, bro.
I mean, I care that I want to win. I care that it would be fucking awesome and funny if I won.
It would be awesome and funny.
It would be fucking hysterical if a company... Imagine if we trolled a CEO out of his job.
They're just doing Gamergate shit openly in broad daylight, and they're confident enough to just say it out loud, knowing full well that most people are not going to fucking dive deeper into this. They're just going to see they're going to just see the high notes, the highlights. And they can just endlessly brigade LSF, which is now run by a head moderator that is a part of Destiny's community that used to be a former Twitch staffer. And they can just keep fucking brigading it over and over and over again. But it just goes nowhere. An ex-mod, yeah, this guy is an ex-mod who harassed other mods and a jaded Destiny orbiter who loved talking to you until his favorite daddy had an issue with you. Exactly. And we've also seen what his fans look like in public. His orbiters and his fans, people in his community, have come up to me in the real world. And it's like a 1 second interaction when it happens. And then we go back and we find that he's been unimaginably racist, saying shit like this in the fucking Discord, in the Destiny Discord. It's Hasan. He's right there. I'm shaking. Yeah, turns out this was the type of shit that he was saying too. That's the Hasan stream. He fucking named himself Hasan Stream Sniper. That was such a pivotal moment in his life This is the type of people he has in his community. Like this is the community that he has cultivated. Destiny has cultivated. Fucking 4chan losers, basically. Just all the most pathetic like Kiwi Farms and fucking 4chan poll idiots gathered around. Yeah. And that interaction was so fucking stupid in and of itself, but it didn't matter, you know? Destiny retweeted that clip of that interaction, encouraging people to harass me in real life, and it didn't really go anywhere. But it's just crazy. It's just like not a normal thing to do. So just remember, when you see something that doesn't make fucking sense, when you're like, you see a clip that doesn't make sense at all about me, where people are just like really priming it, you know? Where people are like, look at this guy, Hasan, he fucking sucks. Understand that it is most likely out of context and is directly coming from that community that has not stopped cyber stalking me or cyber harassing me for the past fucking 5 years. And it's never gone anywhere, but it doesn't stop them because there is no way to stop it. Like, there's not really anything you can do about it. It is what it is. It's just fucking weirdo behavior. And he has a material benefit like that he gains out of this. I mean, he gets ad revenue from this kind of activity. Hopefully one day they'll stop. I don't know. I don't think the world needs another why Trump one take, at least not for me. And obviously there's no one answer, but I do have a piece on print this week, and here are a few paragraphs that might be relevant. The Tucker Carlson Road Show. Yeah. Anyway, when you hear people say we need to move to the center, let's get back to the Democratic Party now, okay? I already went through how fucking stupid this was. But moving back to American politics and the Democratic Party, now that we're done with the drama portion of this broadcast, the brief blip of drama, Simone Sanders asked Donnie Deutsch what he means by the Democrats have to move to the center.
A lot of young people,
which is good. I'm glad that Simone Sanders is asking this question, because this is a question that should be asked of every single person that goes, no, you don't understand. We got to abandon some of these causes. They keep saying it, but what do they mean by that? Does that mean you have to be more racist? Does that mean you have to be transphobic? Because it's not like they were openly and outwardly pro-trans. They didn't prominently display pro-trans sentiment all over their campaign. That didn't happen. So what do they mean by that?
We're also fed up with very super progressive attitudes. I think the Democrats, Joe, going back to your initial question, and you may disagree with this, I think they need to move to the center. I think the
What does that mean, though? When you say they need to move to the center, what do they need? Are you saying that they should not support trans people? Like, let's just be specific, because that's what the ads are doing.
That's on MSNBC, by the way. That's on MSNBC. He's saying we got to move to the center on MSNBC. It's supposed to be the Fox News of the left.
So if the analysis and the immediate aftermath.
It's wild to openly be able to say this without like any consideration to what just took place. Kamala Harris did this already, and she got fucking destroyed. And you got charlatans on the main stage going, no. The problem is real liberalism hasn't been tried yet. Real tacking to the center, real moderation hasn't been tried yet. Kamala Harris's campaign in 2024 was objectively to the right of Joe Biden's successful campaign in 2020. The way she communicated about immigrants versus the way he communicated about immigrants. Okay? Real centrism has not been tried. We will get there. Now, I want you to understand something. I want the Democrats to be a counterweight towards accelerating fascism, okay? I want there to be a competent fighting Democratic Party, because if they keep losing, they're going to keep letting the Republican charlatans run the goddamn show. That's what I want. I don't care about ideological purity. I don't care about not agreeing with most of the Democratic Party's platform. I don't care. I just want them to actually fight. When I say harm reduction as a strategy is unsuccessful in motivating people to go out and vote for you, I'm not just saying that because I'm cynically proposing this because I'm like some secret leftist and I want the Democrats to be Marxist, Leninist. I'm saying that because I know that it has been a demonstrable failure time and time again. And I want the Democrats to not fucking lose to the Republicans every fucking time. I want them to fight, okay? At the very least, fight. And yet, instead of running an autopsy on what took place, these guys are immediately rushing to every mainstream outlet they can go to deliver this false narrative that, like, they just didn't do the right kind of centrism. They didn't go far enough with the centrism. They were too woke. That's what the issue was. Look how red the country is. And it's like, no, dumbass. The country is not shifting to the right on priorities or the way that they're voting. There's plenty of people who you are just leaving aside, that you have written out of the calculation because you are making a false choice. You think you can win with the suburbs. You think you can win with just like the rich white people. And you can't. Historically, that has not been the Democratic Party's bread and butter. I said this over and over again. I said that this move, this Liz Cheney hug and kiss the Republican strategy, is going to hemorrhage the base of support. The bottom is going to fall out. You're not going to have high urban turnout. You're not going to have black turnout. You're not going to have you're not going to have black and brown turnout, youth turnout. You're not going to have white people that normally would go out and vote for you go out and vote for you because you're not saying something to them directly. You're not addressing the issues that they're experiencing. You're just talking about fucking civility. You're just making vague gestures towards how the system is actually fine. We just got to fix it. The economy's rebounding. The economy's rebounding. If people are fucking feeling the pain, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times you say the economy is rebounding. Yeah, if someone is making $100,000 a year, they're probably in a better position overall than many of the people that don't feel that way. And for them, institutions must be defended, sure. But for many others, it's pretty obvious. Wages have remained stagnant for far too long, and now inflation has outpaced the wage growth that people have seen. Weeks before the election, I've been arguing with my dad about how the Dems should tack left instead of right to win more votes. He would not budge. After Tuesday's results, he agreed with me that the Dems need to go more left to win in 2028. I think the liberals on the ground are starting to see this while the pundits and analysts don't. Yeah, the liberals on the ground are shaking from this experience, this defeat. But you need to understand something. They're still primed. They're still tuned into MSNBC. So all it's going to take is like 8 weeks of MSNBC coverage talking about how fucking Liz Cheney and Kamala Harris did a fantastic job. And it was America that was far too racist to vote for her. And there is some truth to that narrative, but you have to fucking outcompete that. There's nothing you can do. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and advocate that like a black person can never run for the highest office. It's fucking insane, right? But if you do, you have to overcome that hurdle with charisma. You have to overcome that hurdle with good policies. You have to overcome that hurdle by actively communicating to every single person that you see them, you hear them, you know exactly what their pain is, and you are going to do something to solve that problem that they're experiencing. If you got no fucking answers for the housing crisis that people are living under right now, 600,000 people are fucking sleeping outside every goddamn night. If you have no answers for that, okay? If you have no answers for any of the issues that people are experiencing, then yeah, they're going to fucking punish you. They're not going to vote. They're not going to vote at all. You cannot always rely on the Republican Party increasingly making the situation worse and worse and worse and worse year after year to then win an election, okay? Marginally, by the way. And then tack to the center, where the ratchet effect happens every fucking cycle. Republicans fuck shit up. Democrats fix some of it, but barely. People are still hurting. Republicans win again. Fuck shit up further. Countries move to the right in the process over and over and over again.
Post Matt Bai writes in part, I do think the prosecutions fed a narrative of Trump as a victim. I also think Democrats dug themselves into a hole on cultural issues and identity politics. Trump's vicious transgender ad in the closing weeks, she's for they, them, he's for you, was probably the most effective of the cycle. I think that...
How can you say neoliberalism failed when Trump won with mass taxes and deregulation platform. The issue is most people blame inflation on Dems and their spending. For their spending, this is a messaging and media problem. Brother, Trump doesn't communicate as a neoliberal, even though his policies are neoliberal. Well, some of it, well, tariffs are not neoliberal at all. Okay? Trump is a populist through and through. He's a right-wing populist, but he even engages in, every now and then when he's lying, when he's campaigning, on left-wing populism as well. The anti-war narrative, for example, that he's a peaceful dove, that he started no new wars. Like, that's literally, what are you talking about? That's like what the Democrats are supposed to say, not the Republicans. The Republicans did the war on terror. What are you talking about? He doesn't present himself as a technocratic neoliberal. That's the Democrats. They always are like, we're the adults in the room. Listen, what do you want, a fucking pony? You're not going to get it. And they're talking about healthcare when they're saying that. And it's like an insane thing to say when you're running. Obviously, I first and foremost want them to actively push for good policies and pass it, when they're in power. But beyond that, they don't even fucking lie about it. Or when they're lying about what kind of policies they do want to pass, even then, they're focus group testing every single fucking message. And the only thing they have to show for that is means-tested policies. $50,000 in tax cuts for small businesses. It's like, are you fucking stupid? You think that's a solution? I'm a small business. I love small businesses. $50,000 in tax cuts for small businesses. That was your banger fucking economic proposal? How many times did I hear that? That was your banger economic proposal? If you're going to fucking lie, then lie about something good, please.
Probably landed with a lot of traditionally Democratic voters who feel like the party is consumed with the cultural issues. Issues don't really.
You always backtrack on your positions and move the goalposts. I know. Always. Which is really interesting because you can literally look at the past 10 years of my political commentary and point to any random video and you will hear the things that I'm saying verbatim, like the exact same things verbatim. It's just interesting that people always say that, but then people claim I'm a grifter or I lie about my positions or whatever, but, it's all out there, readily available.
Really change. I think people needed a reason to feel good and hopeful about voting for her. And absent that, a lot of frustrated voters apparently decided to go with the guy who wants to burn it all down.
Let's dig a little deeper because you have that stacked on top of what happened on college campuses this fall, stacked on top of what's been happening on college campuses over the past 4 or 5 years. I have said this on the air, and every time I've said it, people said, oh, you're just saying that because you're a white conservative. No, I'm just saying it because every Democrat that we have ever sat down with dinner with over the past 5 years who have kids that go to colleges say their kids are afraid to speak in class because they'll be canceled.
What are you saying? This is not even an issue that tracks. It didn't even track in 2016 when the media was constantly talking about it. There was polling conducted on the matter that showed that college students, I remember because this was a big part of the culture war in 2016, which is funny that Joe Scarborough is going back to 2016 era culture war narratives, but this time he's on the right wing. Former Republican, by the way. Still a Republican, if you ask me. At the time, that was a big narrative in 2016, okay? A lot of you were too young to remember. It was like the massive thing. College campus panics about free speech. Free speech is under attack on college campuses. This was the right wing's way of trying to get people like Ben Shapiro, Milo Yiannopoulos, open, overt white supremacists to come and speak on college campuses, okay? They would say college campuses are too woke and there's no free speech happening on college campuses. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? We got to stop this. And at the time, I remember, because I'm a fucking dumbass nerd who likes to look at these sorts of messaging polls and overall attitudes that people have. I remember seeing that this entire thing was concocted not only by the media, but it was only the fucking boomers, people that were completely outside of the college age range that had these sorts of opinions. Most college students, on the other hand, were saying that they wanted free speech in the college classroom because they wanted to have an educational experience that showed diversity of opinion. It was actually simply a point that was concocted by mainstream press. That's it. Wait, Jordan Peterson was right all along? Yeah, totally. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that this is still a narrative that they're going with. They're just like repackaging it. They are adopting the positions of like right-wing weirdos from, at Tufts University, our Republican club got desanctioned for lack of members. It's not censorship. The youth just don't share the worldview of a 60-year-old boomer who bought their home for $10K. Or rather, there are plenty of fucking right-wing people in college campuses, especially nowadays. They're just not nerdy enough to be like, I'm going to join the Young Americans for Freedom Foundation. You know what I mean? They're too busy in frats, okay? They're too busy partying and watching fucking Barstool. They don't give a fuck about being a goddamn nerd. What is this? John Cusack responding to Jank brings up Bernie. Here's my message to Democratic voters. Let's go. Get up. No point in being sad. The good news is that the Democratic establishment that has been leading you astray have been exposed to complete frauds. Rebuild the People's Party, serve the average American, and bring hope back. Here's an idea. Let's listen to Bernie Sanders, whose agenda won the Biden White House. Won Biden in the White House, whose policies are enormously popular, 80 to 90% popular. His was always the way to beat fascism. Maybe now people will accept the truth. I don't think they will, for the record. Shat on lefty losers, hashtag Trump won, says Rue the Peasant. My man's name is literally the Peasant. Jen got a buff when Kamala lost.
Let me say that again. And they're all Democrats. Everybody that we've had dinner with, if they have a kid in college, you go, how the Red Sox going? Yeah, fine. Yeah. So they're eating. Beautiful day today, wasn't it? Yeah. You know, my daughter at University of Virginia, she's afraid to raise her hand in class because if she says something that's politically incorrect, she will immediately be canceled. She'll be shunned from class.
I doubt that this is a real story. It's kind of fucked up that he is. It's kind of fucked up that he's like chirping like this and blasting his own daughter like this to do a fucking stupid ass talking point. The only people that get quote unquote canceled on college campuses are not even the fucking neo-Nazis who are overtly anti-Semitic. They're actually oftentimes Jewish anti-Zionists. Okay? Shut the fuck up. And you loved when they were actually brutalizing those protesters. So what the fuck are you talking about? People are too afraid to speak out on college campuses. My fucking ass. Okay? There's only one group of people who get silenced aggressively, oftentimes by security, by literally government soldiers, okay? The police. And those people are anti-Zionists. That's it.
She'll be destroyed in social media by noon. So they just sit in class quiet. Now,
like what could your why are you calling out your daughter on MSNBC? Like the only thing she could say in a college classroom that could get her like genuinely canceled is probably just like screaming the N-word or something. Okay? Like what the fuck are you talking about? Like you have to be like overtly transphobic or overtly racist, like overtly white supremacist to actually get quote unquote yelled at or canceled in a fucking college classroom. He's more detached from reality than the fucking DNC. No, he is the DNC. That's the point. A lot of these guys have this exact same mindset, okay? They have the exact same mindset. It is genuinely shocking, okay? Some wild quotes in this article. And they're doing a full court press right now to actively cover their ass. And of course, because there's no adversarial media on the matter, there isn't really anyone to just like go on mainstream media and be like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? You lost. You lost in 2016 because you did this. And then you lost in 2024 again because you did this. Okay? Twice to Donald Trump. Stop tacking to the right. You call us idealists. We're pragmatic. You're the idealist. You want to revitalize this dead ideology at every step. You want to act like this idiotic third way neoliberalism, a technocratic approach, and a vague gesturing to like our institutions and civility is going to push you across the fucking finish line. It's clearly a failure. There's a lot of resentment. There's a lot of pain that people are experiencing. And there's a lot of resentment that they have for those elite institutions. You're so goddamn out of touch. I don't know what to fucking tell you.
if any of you, which camera? Give me a camera to look at. Boom! Oh, look at that one. If any of you out there say, oh, that's just like a conservative, white, Southern guy, da-da-da, that's what you're losing. That's what you're losing. because that's what I heard. And
you want to know why I think like New York and California are becoming like more and more right wing, by the way? There's still plenty of room for them to not go in that direction. I think it's the exact same problems that are happening within the Democratic Party, but in the opposite direction. What I mean by that is the Democratic Party, like all of the liberal elites, the well-read, college-educated whites, right? And college-educated people across the board, the parts of the professional managerial class that live in California and live in New York are tuned into this shit. And this shit actively pushes them further and further right. And I don't mean like, oh, they start experiencing resentment. No, this is like straightforward right-wing propaganda. What he's saying right here, college campuses are far too woke. We got to drop this shit. We got to drop this shit, is right-wing propaganda. This is something that Ben Shapiro was talking about all the way back in 2016. Okay? The constant crime panics, the constant immigration panics. When Democrats are mainlining this kind of overt reactionary propaganda every single fucking day, they become tuned. They become primed into believing it. And when you believe that right-wing propaganda, you're not going to vote for the Democrats any longer. Why the fuck would you? The party is right there. They will welcome you with open arms. And that's what you're seeing. All of this mainstream fabrications surrounding organized crime, surrounding immigration, that they're doing so many crimes. They're just like, they're doing unimaginable amounts of crimes. And paired up with the visible aspect of what people perceive as crime in big cities, which is, of course, homelessness, which is a direct consequence of obviously the housing market. You got all these people whose brains are getting broken. Terrifying stuff overall. So on the one hand, the Democratic Party's media apparatus is actively priming its own base, its own solid blue wall base of support into being more committed to a right-wing agenda. And simultaneously, they are pushing away all of these people who are like, just fix my problems, man. What the fuck? I just want healthcare, please. They're actively pushing those guys away who are very progressive. So they're effectively burning the candle on both ends. Jasmine Crockett, let me just say, I'm thankful for the text and the calls, but nothing that I do has ever been about me. The pain that I feel is for us collectively. I never like being wrong. I've seen this. My daughter just shared this screenshot. This text was sent out to some black student. Some of the black students at Duke University today. This is just the beginning. Greeting. You have been selected to pick cotton at the nearest plantation. Be ready by 5 p.m. EST. Executive slaves will come get you in a black van. Be prepared to be searched down. Once you enter plantation, you are plantation group 4. Yeah, right-wing troll shit. Classic. People are very, very comfortable. And before people say like, oh, I don't know if this is real or not, like, I mean, I get text messages like this from time to time. You know what I mean? I know people who get text messages like this from time to time. I know it's definitely a thing that people do. Okay. They are very, very, they're getting comfortable again. They're getting ready. They're getting ready once again to behave in the same exact fucking ways that they did with like Unite the Right rallies and shit like that. Trump is their guy. He gets into office. Now they're going to be more and more comfortable just openly expressing their white supremacist desires. And why shouldn't they? Trump is saying it at the top of the ticket, you know? Of course. Doors open. Not today, DHL. Not today. You ain't slick. Hold on.
Didn't hear it from Republicans. I didn't hear it from Trumpers. I heard it from Democrats over the past 3 years. Kids were afraid to talk in class and say something unpopular because they would be canceled. And it's an epidemic. Willie will tell you it happens in New York City schools. It happens in colleges. And all of this adds up to people going, come on, this is crazy. And Mike, it's having an impact from, again, the trans ad to, the athletics. And by the way, as we've said on the show 1,000 times, Democrats should be smarter on the women's athletics thing. 85% of Americans oppose men transitioning after puberty. And
That's, again, this is supposed to be the woke media, okay? They are so not, though. It's funny. These are the most annoying people we all know watching Ben Shapiro. Yes. Like, can you imagine, dude? Look at this. Look at this guy. This is a non-issue, okay? This is straight up a fucking non-issue. There's like 3 different right-wing cultural touch points that he added into this. DHL, I'm surprised they even hit the brakes. No. I saw the dude literally ring the doorbell, and immediately walk away, as DHL is known to do. For those of you who don't know, DHL is a delivery service, is like usually international packages, and they're notorious for just like knocking once and then running away. I don't know why. It's the only fucking, they're fast as fuck. But I think they have like a straightforward policy of just like lightly touching your door and then running away with the package. This is completely unrelated to the, issue that we were just talking about, but they got quotas to meet. They got places to be, dog. I know, but I caught them. I was like, not today. Bro went from talking about Latino and black men yesterday to now talking about cancel culture. This is why I can't trust a liberal more than a conservative. I mean, he is a conservative, for the record. He is obviously a conservative. Anyway, it is, it's crazy. Every single thing. This is a Ben Shapiro video, but it's being displayed on MSNBC. Look at how quickly these fucking right-wing charlatans, who are literal Republicans, by the way. Joe Scarborough is a Republican from the state of Florida. Just remember that. Half of the people at any given moment that is doing commentary on CNN, MSNBC, or even ABC or CBS, any number of these different like mainstream institutions, these legacy publishers, are former or current right-wing Republicans. Okay? That is not right-wing. Everything he said, the hyper-focus on non-issues like this is right-wing. That's all this is. I can show you every single thing that he brought up is directly, bar for bar, verbatim, a Ben Shapiro video.
It happens in colleges, and all of this adds up to people going, come on, this is crazy. Yeah. And Mike, it's having an impact from, again, the trans ad to, the athletics. And by the way, as we've said on the show 1,000.
What? You're muted? I'm not muted. What's happening? What? It wasn't even one guy. It was like a couple of guys.
Sometimes Democrats should be smarter on the women's athletics thing. 85% of Americans oppose men transitioning after puberty and competing against women. And I'm not just saying this the day after the election. I've been saying this for years. This is not a hard call. You can show compassion and you can show grace. And as the Republican governor of Utah said, let's figure out a way to do this. But one way we don't do this is by allowing men who transition after puberty competing against young girls who have been working their entire lives to be as good as they can be, and then they get destroyed in the pool, on the track, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Was this even a top 50 issue? Nope. So one must ask the question, if this is not even remotely important. The question after this autopsy of what went wrong in this campaign should be, is this going to put more food on people's tables and more money in their pockets? Because that was the most significant problem in every single district where people went out and voted for Trump by larger numbers. So the question I always ask people is this. Let's say you stopped the 4 trans 14-year-olds from participating in the high school swim meet. How does that impact your life? Okay? Are you going to have more money in your pocket? Are you now more secure in your educational attainment, in your job? Did this actually even remotely improve your material circumstances? Here is Utah's very own governor. Why I'm vetoing HB 11. This was a very famous thing that happened in 2022 on March 22nd. Governor Cox vetoed HB 11, student eligibility in interscholastic activities, and issued a call for a special legislative session to consider financial and legal issues regarding the bill. In the bill, he said this, And this is Utah's governor, Spencer J. Cox. It's not like he's a fucking woke guy, okay? Not a good guy at all. Very bad, as a matter of fact. This was a right-wing anti-trans bill. When I say you're writing these bills at the state legislature level specifically to like dunk on 4 people, 4 young students, I mean it. Like, you literally are doing that against 4 fucking people, okay? I believe in fairness and protecting the integrity of women's sports. I know both of you are committed to these same ideals and that we have worked very hard together to resolve many issues surrounding transgender student participation in sports. Unfortunately, HB 11 has several fundamental flaws that should be reconsidered. Because the bill was substantially changed in the final hours of the legislative session with no public input in a way that will literally bankrupt the Utah High School Athletic Association and result in millions of dollars of legal fees for local school districts with no state protection, and for several other reasons, I have chosen to veto this bill. The transgender sports participation issue is one of the most divisive of our time. The fact that like this is even a statement blows my goddamn mind, okay? Because there are logical and passionate arguments by many parties, finding compromise or common ground can be difficult. Sadly, there's very little room for nuance in this debate, but I hope you will permit me an opportunity to explain my reasons for vetoing HB 11. This is a tactic that the right applies all the time. This is a right-wing governor of the right-wing state of Utah. But I want to explain something to you. Sometimes it's good to take a deep breath, okay, and say, do I really care about this? Is this an issue that matters at all? Or am I being primed to hyper-focus on this random fucking thing? Am I? Trans panic stuff fits so firmly in this category where people will turn around and go like, oh, dude, like some fucking, some random like healthcare facility, healthcare clinic in England actually changed the verbiage of vagina in a medical setting to other hole or something, the third hole, whatever the fuck, some kind of random nonsensical bullshit, right? When you hear that, if your first response is, well, I guess this trans stuff has gotten out of control, everybody's doing this, right? You might be getting fucking duped by the right. Okay, birthing person memes. Yeah, exactly. Joe is right. I'm broke because of the trans barista 5 states away. Exactly. Republicans love doing this thing where they will get you primed to be fucking angry at something so nonsensical. Okay, something so stupid that normal people should look at and go, the fuck? Why are you telling me this? I don't give a shit. Move on. Okay, they do this all the time. And it's like, it's usually something that is like indefensible for the record, right? Something that is just like too stupid. It's like looking at, I don't know, discourse on eating disorder Twitter, okay? And then being like, this is what the left wants. It's like, no, man, those are some fucked up people, okay? Like, that's just, those are fucking loony bin shit. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, what do you mean? Like, that's not a broad movement that is occurring. That has nothing to do with like, yikes, bro. No, that's like it's just, I saw that. I remember seeing like someone being like, here are the accounts on eating disorder Twitter and self-harm Twitter that are supportive of Donald Trump. So we have to, we have to make sure that we unfollow them. And I'm like, you okay? The fuck? I just saw a tweet about that. So I thought it was funny. So it was in my mind right now. But it's like hyper focusing on something like that. Something that's just like objectively silly and not even remotely a part of the platform at all. Okay? It's just so stupid. And people get unimaginably invested. Like, how many hours of debates have occurred over trans people in sports? Like an objectively stupid fucking conversation to have. How many hours spent? That's why for me, it was always like, why do you fucking care about this? You don't actually fucking care about this. Shut the fuck up. That's why that was, I think, the best way to just never have this conversation. It does not matter. And I think if people were better at dealing with this issue, they would just be like, this doesn't put food in your fucking belly, okay? This doesn't put food on your table. This doesn't like secure housing for you. Just, it is a simple distraction. And that's what it is. So when Joe Scarborough and others personally are invested in this distraction and talk about it like it's the main source of grievance that people have with the Democratic Party, they're just priming their base for reactionary attitudes. That's all this is. Like, these kinds of attitudes are exactly why the Democratic Party lost. I have just convinced my right-wing friend that carrying on trans drama is fucking stupid and bigoted thanks to your messaging. Yeah, they are personally laundering anti-trans and trans panic narratives into what is otherwise supposed to be like left-wing liberal discourse, progressive discourse on MSNBC. It's alarming.
They have to move to the center. I mean, what is the center? Because I disagree that is it, but I want to hear what is the center. Because you're not the only person, to be clear, I've heard say that.
Yeah.
My phone this morning.
The center are the people I described before. I'm not even talking about an issue. We can talk about issues. The people I described before who bounce back and forth, who play between the 45-yard lines, that tends to win elections if you look historically where it is. So that's my feeling. And we can agree to disagree.
All right. So we also have with us U.S. Special Correspondent for BBC.
A lot of young...
Yeah, he had no answer. He had no answer for it. It's so dumb. It's just like such a stupid argument. It is one where you are slated for defeat regardless. If you say like you care about trans people, then everyone's gonna be like, oh, I guess you want everyone to be trans. It's like, dude, I'm not gonna argue with your hallucinations, okay? That's not how this works. It's the same shit as like gay people, okay? Shut the fuck up. There's a finite amount of people who are trans. There's a finite amount of people who are gay, okay? And yes, when society inevitably progresses and we're more open-minded and we update the way we understand gender and shit, yeah, the finite amount of trans people are going to be comfortable coming out and being trans. As a trans provider, I wish more guys like you were more secure in their masculinity, protect trans kids and people. You are legit on it. Yeah, it's just so fucking dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb to like hyper focus on the shit. You're a fucking weird loser, okay? You're either a weird loser who has been primed by other fucking weird losers that are deliberately trying to get you to hyper focus on this and be extremely invested in this because they don't want you to recognize who's actually robbing you fucking blind. Okay? It's so dumb. It's so dumb. What? We should stop talking about transgender issues though and talk more on economic issues. Who cares if they kick trans people out of sports? Their rights should not matter to the left. Focus on real shit. You're joking, right? Was that your takeaway from this conversation? Their rights should not matter. Yeah, you're right, man. We should just fucking kill the trans people. Like, good argument, man. Thank you. Thank you for your leftist position. Like, I can't tell if you're, like, baiting me. Oh, no, ignore that? The fuck? What are you saying? There's never been a moment where I've compromised on trans rights in general, okay? The argument is not what I'm saying. That is not the argument I'm making. What a fucking stupid attitude to have. No, I'm not ignoring it. Explain what you meant. You're a 14-month subscriber. I want to hear it. This is a very pro-trans community in general.